day, everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of the parable of the sower. Today, we're going to go into Matthew chapter 13, verse 5. We're going to talk about the seed that fell on stony ground. Let's get to it. So, when I was growing up, my parents used to plant gardens every year, and we had parts of our land where the soil was just absolutely rich. And if you know anything about gardening, then you know that the soil that you plant your vegetations or your flowers in is very important for them to grow the way that you want them to. So my parents were basically very skilled when it came to gardening, and every year we would help them with the garden. And my dad had this it's like a garden plow that you walk behind, and he would use that to till the soil. And then he would make rows, like with the hose, like people used to use the hose to make a row, and we would walk behind them and punch holes in the rows all the way to the end, and then we'll come back and cover up, the hole where we dropped the seed in, and we would water the garden. Now, we were kids when we were doing this, so sometimes that seed didn't always make it in the hole. So it didn't mean that it didn't grow, it's just that it didn't last like the seeds that were dropped in the hole, who was growing underground and was getting the nourishment, the watering that it needed from the soil, and they were able to catch root. So those that were planted in the holes, those are the ones that actually grew and they sprouted until they were ready for harvest. But the seeds that actually was just on the surface, they still were able to grow even after watering, but they didn't last as long as the seeds that were actually rooted in the ground. Most of the time, those would actually wither away from the sun, or maybe bugs, or just animals will come along and eat the vegetation. So they didn't last. So you're probably wondering, what does this story have to do with today's message on the seed that fell on stony ground? Well, I want you to picture this. I want you to picture the kingdom of Yah like a beautiful garden. And in that garden, he has planted his seeds, and we are that seed. And some of his seeds are flourishing in him, and some they're just withering away. And he has sent his soil, which is Yeshua, to teach you Yah's way, to teach us how to live righteous, to teach us how to be holy before him. And he is using leaders that are righteous even today to do the same thing. But what happens with the seed that fall on stony ground is you receive the word, you receive Yahweh, you heard what they say, you heard your pastor, but you get excited over the word, and that's all it is. It's just an excitement. You're excited over how charismatic the word was delivered. We get excited and we go into our praise and worship dance, and it's okay to be excited over the word. I'm not saying don't be excited over the word. We should always be excited over the word. But don't get so over emotional that you didn't retain the word, because the message that he's given us, these messages most of the time are the ones that should be transforming lives. It has the power to change souls. And whenever you're receiving the word of truth, there's going to be some challenges. It never fails. Every time Yah sends a word that has the power to change and transform souls, there are going to be some challenges that follow it. And so you need the word of truth rooted inside of you so that you will know how to stand. So if you don't go and meditate on the word, if you don't allow Yah to reveal himself to you more through his word, if you don't spend time in prayer with him, you have nothing to stand on when problems come. You have no root. You're just like the seed that fell on the surface. It was able to grow, but it didn't last because it had nothing to sustain them. It didn't catch a root like the one that was planted under the ground, and it was able to grow and it was able to flourish. You don't want to be that kind of seed. You want to be rooted in Yah, because when all of this is over, the only thing that's going to stand is the kingdom of Yah and his seed that is rooted in him. All right. So that's all I have for tonight, you guys. See you next time for part 3. Have a great weekend.